Hi, my name is Cheyenne. I'm the birth mom. Basically, the reason I'm doing an adoption is because I feel it's best. Right now, I can't give my daughter or my son what they need, and better off putting them with a family that can. Not to mention, I like to be able to gift a family that can't have kids. It's something that makes me feel really good. I've given up a baby for adoption before, and so when I did that, and the look and the expression that the joy that the mom expressed basically was something that you can't get from buying a gift and giving it to somebody. You can't get that from something. So it's a really good feeling. Growing up selling crack pretty much when I was 14 years old, and that's pretty much how I met Elias, and was because I was 14 years old selling crack on the corner of the street pretty much at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and met his mom because his mom used to be a crack whore at the time. So she bought some crack from me, and then I was walking home and she was like, "Don't you know that these gorilla pimps will snatch you up out here?" And I looked at her, I was like, "I wish they would." And she was like, "Get up here and walk with me." And so we got to talking and stuff like that, and Elias was in prison at the time, and when he got out, he met me and asked me, like, "How do you feel about selling G, which is meth?" And I was like, "No, I don't want nothing to do with that," because my family pretty much had been hooked on that. So I grew up in a crazy life, like going to dope houses myself when I was young, not knowing, but knowing in a way, you know. And so I told him I didn't want anything to do with it, and then a couple months later I hit him up asking him, like, "Can you bring me a dime?" And he's like, "You're doing that stuff now?" I told him, no, never, no, I'm not doing that, no. So every time after that, like, we'd be sitting there and I'd load a bowl and like, "You want to hit this?" And he'd be like, yeah, let me see it. And he'd look at it and he'd be like, "That ain't a bowl, let me see your sack." And he'd put it in his pocket, turn around and walk out the door. Try to keep me from smoking. Tried to change my life around, but didn't really work too well. Did some crazier things like robbing people, and just pretty much trying to change that now. I stopped doing drugs. I haven't done drugs in quite a while. I try to stay away from people that do now, so it's like, because all they are, and then I realize it, like, now that I quit doing drugs, is like, I realize it when I'm around people and stuff like that, like, all they are is drama. All their focus is drugs. Like, they'll rob somebody. They'll rob their own friends. I've had a friend that robbed me just to go and get drugs instead of trying to get her kids back. And it was just like a lot of those things that I experienced made me look at things a lot different. Like, kids depend on you. Your kids depend on you. And for you to just fail them, I'd rather my kid be put up for adoption and me still be a part of its life and not be able to, like, feel like I failed that kid. At least even if they do feel like that because I gave them up for adoption, at least I know that they're okay in life. Because I've had friends, like I was saying, that the friend that robbed me, I was trying to help her out get her kids back from DCS. And when she robbed me, she took the money and she went and bought like an ounce of dope and lost her kids. And it was just like something that devastated me. I had a kid at the time. I was trying to get out of that life. And so basically I just want to be able to fix the life of kids. When I gave the first baby I gave up for adoption, I looked at the mom, and because I have my oldest, which is 4, and she's like the best thing that's ever happened to me pretty much. And so when I gave my first up for adoption and I was in the room giving birth, the mom wanted to be able to experience it because she can't have her own kids. She can't give birth. So the closest thing she has to being able to experience giving birth is being in the room and seeing that. And so she was there, and when I actually delivered the baby and stuff, and she's holding the baby, I looked at her and I was like, I just hope that this little girl brings you as much joy as my little girl's brought me. And she just burst into tears. And that's something that, like, that feeling, because if it weren't for me giving that to her, she could have possibly never ever been able to feel that. That family had tried like multiple times on different occasions to be able to have kids, to be able to adopt kids, and she can't. And so it's just a good feeling. And I'd say do an open adoption, because with a closed adoption, you don't get that closure, because there's always that piece of you that you feel is missing. With an open adoption, you can be able to still get pictures of that kid. You get somewhat of a part of that kid's life no matter what. So it's a great feeling though. When you choose the family, there's a lot that goes into it. Anybody that's giving up their kid doesn't want to just give their kid to anybody and not know the type of life they're gonna live. So it's like the best thing that you can do is make sure you have interviews with that family. Make sure you have conversations with that family and get an understanding, and let them get an understanding of what you want for your kid's future and why you're doing it. Because there's nothing like with the family that I gave my 2 daughters up to, when I first went into it and stuff like that the first time, like I told them, I was like, right now, I mean, I'm struggling. I have 1 kid and I'm not ready. I'm only 22 years old, 21 years old. I'm not ready right now to take on another kid. 1 right now for me is enough, and she's a handful. I don't know, I was looking at them, like, I mean, they're physical, they're active, they're things that I would want, like things that I like. When I was growing up and stuff like that, I was a really active kid. I just wanted to go and play sports and do this and do that and just be outside pretty much, and that's what type of family they are. And I know with my oldest daughter, she loves the outdoors. If she can be outside all day playing, even if it's hot as crap outside, if it's 125 degrees, she'll be outside playing. If she can, she is. And so I know, and then my second and my third daughter, they love the outdoors too. They love to go out and just have fun outside in the park and stuff like that. So it's like, I know that's in my kids. They love the outdoors. And so with this family, they're outdoors people. They're very family oriented. And it's like, I want a close-knit family. Somebody that has the grandma and the grandpa, and not necessarily has to have it, but just like family, close family. I kind of had that experience in a way growing up, but most of mine were street family. My best advice is, when you're giving a baby up, make sure you have that bond with that family to be able to understand, and make sure, because that gives you closure at the end of the day. If you make sure that family is what you would want for your kid in the future, then you can sleep at night. It wasn't an easy decision, because like I said, you're always gonna feel like you're missing a piece. And like they reassured me, they just told me that no matter what, they'll tell the baby, they'll tell the little girl that I gave her up because I loved her. Pretty much right after, I think it was about a week later, I didn't get to meet them face to face, but about a week later, I got to talk to them on the phone. We talked pretty much every week, sometimes twice a week, and we would just have conversations like about what I want for my kid in the future and what they want. And they asked me, they were like, well, are you gonna name the baby? And that's another thing, like, I didn't want to take that from them, because if they were having their own baby, and they'd be able to choose the name of that kid. I don't want to name a kid that somebody else is going to raise. I'd rather them be able to raise it as theirs, 100% like theirs. They know, I know, and I love them for that, because if it weren't for them, I don't know where my kid would be right now. Like, I don't know if the kid would be with me. Like, I had a really struggling time raising my oldest. And I mean, I love her to death. She's the best thing that has happened to me, but it's like, I wasn't ready to have another kid. I wasn't ready to be a mom again. Like, I was a mom, but to have another infant, it's a lot of work. It's a lot. I've raised one, and it's a lot. make sure it's what you want. And if you know that that's what you want to do it. It's one of the best feelings you can give to a person.